Good morning. How's everybody doing today? I hope you guys are having a great weekend. It is freezing here in Nashville, 19 degrees this morning when I got up. We usually just don't get that cold, but it's supposed to be 45 today, so it will warm up. Well, let's jump right into the questions this morning. Okay, we don't have very many of them, frankly. Feel free to reach out to Sean or Shirley or even me and get these questions posted. I'm sure a lot of people have the same questions. But the first one is from AJ. Hey AJ, Couts. And his question is, what strategy would you use to speak with a gallery or company to help, oops, wrong question. What's your advice for maximizing results of a new fitness challenge? So AJ's starting a 75-day program shortly and wanted to get the maximum benefit from it for personal development. And he asked my advice. By the way, AJ tells us he's failed this twice before. Well, I like your persistence, AJ. You know, persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan "Press on" has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. Here would be my advice. Break your goals down into little daily bites. The smaller the goal, the easier it is to achieve. How to eat an elephant? One bite at a time. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Say this to yourself: success by the inch is a cinch. By the yard, it's hard. But the point is, break this down into little small goals, and I think you'll find it much easier to achieve your goal. The second thing is, don't get discouraged when you don't perform the way you should one day or even 2 days. Get back on the horse, start riding again, and push through. You can do it. I'm confident in you. You've grown so much since I've started working with you. You can do this. Now, the second question is from Robin. Hey, Robin. She asks, what strategy would you use to speak with a gallery or company to help sell your art if you were an artist? Well, I would first get a prospect list. I would identify the galleries that I wanted to approach. Secondly, I would go see the galleries in person with samples of my art. Either A, you should do this by phone, set up the appointment and then come in. That's my preference. Or B, just cold call them in person, walk in and say, is the manager, the owner of the gallery here? Either way is fine with me as long as you do it. Robin, the problem is not you knowing what to do. Does that make sense? The problem is that you don't do it. So get the prospect list, block some time on your calendar to make these calls or to go out and cold call in person, whichever it is, and approach them. And then show them your art. There's nothing you can say except that your art speaks for itself. And then once they see that art, if they love it, they'll display it in the gallery. And if they don't, they won't. It's that simple. You can do this, but you got to get up off the sofa, off your chair, off the bed, and get on the phone or get in the car and go see these galleries. Okay? Next is submitted by Samuel Verreau. And Samuel says, what is the best place to find a competent sales professional that will work on a commission basis? You know, Samuel, if I knew the answer to that question, I would be richer. I would have all the money in the world, because finding good salespeople is the key to growing any business. Now, I can give you some tips, but you want a straight commission salesperson that will work on a commission only. These are even harder to find. But Samuel has an NFT business and he wants to get a following and he wants to promote the business and not be in sales. So first of all, Samuel, we're all in sales. You know, it doesn't matter what you do. We all sell a product, a service, or an idea. It's just the truth. Secondly, I want to say that you can be the salesperson until you get enough money to hire somebody to do the promotion. You can probably get a following and get a promotion for between $900 and $2,000 a month. And since you're the best salesman for the product, I'd consider a different strategy. Spend all my time selling, since you're the owner, and find somebody to delegate these other tasks to. Now, to answer your question, where do you get a commissioned salesperson? Well, you can advertise online. You can post on all your social media outlets. You're promoting your business, promote the opportunity for your salesperson the same way you promote your opportunity. There's no magic to it. The only way you're going to find people is by getting out there and asking and advertising, okay? But consider the first option. I think it's better. Next, again, another question from Robin. Do you agree that exceptional products sell themselves? Now, this is a great question. Robin's an artist. No, I don't. The world will not build a path to your doorstep because you have a better mousetrap unless you tell somebody about it. Now, maybe you're assuming that once somebody makes contact, the product sells itself, and to some extent that's true. But unless you go out and make contact, the product will not sell itself. Exceptional products are great to represent if you're a salesperson, but the truth of the matter is you have to go out and see somebody. And I talked to you about that earlier in this broadcast, as you know. Hey, Joel, thanks for turning in so early. That's great. So the next question is from Dina, and Dina is asking, how do I start wholesaling wedding dresses to bridal shops? So she is making wedding dresses and she wants to wholesale them to bridal shops. It's the same answer, Dina, that I gave Robin. You have to get a prospect list of the shops that would carry your wedding dresses. Then you have to go in person or set an appointment by phone to show them your wedding dresses. The only way you're going to be able to sell these is if you show people what it is you're selling. So many people these days want to use the internet. They want to use Facebook. They want to use Instagram. They want to use email. And all those are good. Obviously, we know those are good. But nothing will ever take the place of a live one-on-one meeting with a prospect. And you don't see any social media people, any e-commerce people, anybody who disagrees with that, all right? Now, I would consider setting up an e-commerce page and just selling direct as long as you're also selling wholesale. And you may want to spend some money actually advertising these wedding dresses online. So get an e-commerce page, get a nice display of your wedding dresses, and allow people to order them from you directly. In addition to that, go call on the bridal shops and give them the information about the dresses and the prices and ask them if they will carry your dresses, okay? The next question is from Pat Joseph. Hey, Patrick, I always call you. Hey, Pat, how are you doing? He says, what is the standard percentage of annual gross income for annual spend on legal fees, marketing, and self-development? Now, first of all, Patrick, I want you to Google those questions. You're an IT expert. I Googled those questions and didn't get very good answers, but I got some thoughts about it, and you should do that too. But for example, if you're a billion-dollar company, you may spend 1% on advertising and marketing of your budget, and it's still, $1 million, or $100 million, or $10 million. I'm sorry, $10 million. Or you may be a business that only generates $100,000 in revenue, and to do anything significant, you're going to have to spend 10 or 15 or 20% of your budget. And so the question is based on your revenue. Now, if you got my email, if you ask me specifically and you give me that revenue number to plug in, I'll give you a more specific answer, okay? Hey, David, glad you could tune in this morning. Thanks for coming. It's Sunday morning, and entrepreneurs are up and working, okay? So Patrick goes on and he says, for annual spend on legal fees, marketing, and self-development. Now, you should budget something for all of those. Marketing, you could get a very specific target and a very specific percentage, and you could stay within budget. Legal fees are harder to budget. What are you going to spend? $5,000, $10,000. If you're a bigger company, you may spend $1 million because you're defending your patents, you're defending your copyrights, and you're warding off people that want to sue you. So there's no real fixed answer to that, but you should budget some for that and plan on it, because we are in a litigious society. People love to sue. They love to get their lawyers involved. And as you grow your business, you're going to want to protect yourself. And then the last was self-development per year. And everybody ought to be spending a lot on self-development. There was a fellow, Charlie Tremendous Jones, and I heard him speak when I was 19 years old, and he said something I've never forgotten. You are the same today that you will be in 10 years, except for the people you meet and the books you read. Now, this was before DVDs. This was before YouTube. This was before all the technology we have now. So we might change that a little bit and say you will be the same person you are today, 10 years from now, except for the books you read, the people you meet, and the things you watch. So get developing and just set a budget for yourself. But first of all, what I would do is I would take an assessment of the qualities I need to develop in order to, hey, Kimberly, glad you could join. Good morning. Get a list of the qualities you want to develop. In my life, I needed to develop my financial expertise. I was going to run a company, and I needed to know how to read a financial statement, a balance sheet, look for problems. And so I took some courses on that. I didn't know much about operations, and so I took some operational courses. And you can do the same depending on what your strength or weakness is. The other option is just to hire talent into those weak areas. Okay. Now, the next question is from Ricardo Delgado. He says, what would you do to find more barbers to come to work in your barber shop? Now, this is a very basic question, Ricardo. First of all, I'd go to the barber schools. Secondly, I'd advertise on Indeed, on ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn. I'd advertise on Facebook, and I would join groups that were made up of barbers and the vendors to barbers. And those groups are on LinkedIn and Facebook, and there may be other groups, but recruiting is a matter of getting out there and exposing your opportunity to as many people as possible. And if you'll do that, I think you'll see that you'll be able to recruit a barber. But again, most people want to just put a sign up in the window and hope somebody comes by and wants the job and that person is qualified and a really good employee. Doubtful. Very doubtful. Okay? Hey, Mark, glad you could join us this morning. It won't last much longer, Mark, because we didn't have that many questions. The next question is from Sebastian, and he says, what is the best way to get commercial contracts or clients? I have a cleaning company. I started providing residential services. He went to the commercial market, construction cleanings, building cleaning, big company offices, etc. I've tried cold calls, showing up, and little contracts, but I wonder which would be the best way to get hot prospects or attract them. So I work with an individual who has an appointment setting business, and she sets appointments for commercial cleaners. And she sets appointments with building managers and with commercial construction companies and with people that would have the ability to sign up for their cleaning services. And then once they have an appointment with that person, you go out and show what you're doing, give them a price, and ask them if they'd like you to clean the building. Now, most people have somebody that's cleaning their building right now. And what you're looking for are the people that are not happy with their current cleaning crew, or people whose contract is expiring that would give you an opportunity to bid for the job. So again, make a prospect list of the people I mentioned, get on the phone and set appointments, and then go out and visit them, look at the building, ask them if they'd like a proposal. Now, one of the biggest objections you're going to get is we got that covered, or we don't need that right now. And so this is the answer to that objection. Mr. Contractor, I completely understand what you're saying. However, in these crazy times, most people want a backup plan or somebody on deck. And so because of that, it will give you an opportunity to go out and see them. But in the Pro Code sales videos, we cover a lot of the answers to the most common objections you'll hear when you're approaching these contractors and building managers. So I want you to watch those, and I want you to get a prospect list. I want you to block time to call for appointments, and I want you to go out and see them, and I want you to sell something. The next question is from Joshua Cortez. How often should someone follow up with a referral partner? Again, most of the time we use the PFTA method for that. Pluck from thin air. But we can do better than that. We can either, with our own calendar or with a CRM, if you have one, put in a reminder for you to call your referral partner every so often. So I work with a man in AO who works with real estate, with commercial insurance agents. And he calls them once a week. He doesn't always talk to them, but he does get to leave a message and let them know he's thinking about them, and put him up higher on the list of people that they're thinking about and want to do something with. You know, part of having a great referral partner is the rewards that you give them. So many of us take for granted that people refer us and to somebody else that we can sell, and we say thank you. But there's a really good book. It's my kind of book, a little book, thin. You can read it in an hour and a half or 2 hours, and it's called Giftology. And it talks about the value of giving things and thinking about the people that are important to you in your business. You know, I work with a realtor here in Nashville, and she identified 50 people that she said she was going to, quote, love on. And so I think that's a perfect example. You get some partners and you love on them. How often you talk to them is up to you. But you don't always have to call them and say, have you got anybody for me? Have you got anybody for me? Have you got anybody? Hey, John, how you doing? Just wanted to check in. Hadn't talked to you in a while. Just thinking about you. Everything going okay? Great. What are you working on right now? Okay. That's fantastic. How's the family? Good. You know, you got any trips planned? No, it's COVID, you idiot. So anyway, the point is you build a relationship with these referral partners, and the way you build a relationship is by spending time with them and by finding out information about them, okay, so that your relationship grows. And for me, I take notes on my partners. I have a folder, and I write down the things we talked about so it reminds me of where we were in the development of that relationship later, okay? So I hope that helps, Joshua. It's a lot of work. Nothing is easy, though, right? Okay. The last question, maybe that was the last question. Yes, that was the last question. So there's a question here, it didn't print out, from about a business loan broker trying to get a company to sign a referral contract. Oh, it's the same question, but they have not yet already called. Have 3 touch points and times I've followed up. We'll just keep following up. Like I said earlier in this broadcast, persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. So group, those are the questions today. And if you have questions, reach out to Shirley, reach out to Sean. If I'm working with you, of course, you can reach out to me. And I look forward to getting on the broadcast next time. Now go sell something. Have a great week, guys.